I'm Anthony Douglas. I chair the Suffolk Safeguarding Adults Board, so my responsibility is to keep people in Suffolk safe and to make sure that the agencies who look after them are doing it properly and to support them in doing difficult work. LGR has got very considerable risks, and because the only rationale is really economies of scale, in terms of looking after people who are vulnerable with complex needs, then it needs a more complex rationale than that. So from a safeguarding point of view, it's important to make sure there's no detriment to people in the greatest need in our communities. The point for me about the economies of scale is that that doesn't quite stand up for safeguarding because it's not a function that can be delegated. I think in the business case for the 3 unitaries, there is a suggestion of one hosting safeguarding for the 3, but the functions can't be delegated in that way. So it would mean setting up 3 new, quite deep and complex infrastructures for safeguarding services. These are statutory services. Staff are not easy to find, not easy to keep. They're specialists, but as the work becomes more demanding and complex, so is the need for specialists even greater. What we can do at the moment is to deploy specialists around the county at times of need, sometimes at incredibly short notice because of the nature of keeping people safe. And any barriers, any hoops that you have to go through to find specialists in one part of the county to help another constitutes potentially a really huge problem in terms of delay. I worry about so much reform simultaneously. There is reform coming up for education with a new white paper, re-establishing the roles between schools and councils, a policing white paper, major changes to health with big cost reductions in ICBs. But out of all of that, there is at least at the moment 1 police force for Suffolk. The ICB boundaries, even if they're Norfolk and Suffolk, will be distinctly Suffolk based. And at the moment, we have the County Council operating across the whole of the county. So for me, in terms of what will work best for safeguarding, it has to be the One Suffolk option, in which all services are integrated across the county, which includes housing services and many other specialist services that people depend upon. So whilst I think LGR has huge risks, I think the benefits from integration on the Suffolk footprint are considerable over a period of time. So I think why I prefer the One Suffolk option and think it's best for local people is that One Suffolk, along with place-based local arrangements in the west, for Ipswich in the east and for Waveney, will give public services the best of both worlds. For me, running safeguarding services, One Suffolk is better, easier to organise, cheaper and more likely to benefit people who need specialist support at short notice. One Suffolk has risks, but not as many risks as 3 unitaries forming from scratch. I would be really worried about the distraction of LGR at a crucial time for demand and complexity like we have now. LGR will take far too long, and the risk is planning blight over many years. The risk of One Suffolk in terms of planning blight is far less than the risk of establishing 3 councils from scratch. As a Suffolk resident, I've got a personal as well as a professional interest, and One Suffolk will make it easier for me professionally to make sure that the statutory partners, health, the police and the council, operate together because they'll be on the same footprint. I've been involved or led numerous reorganisations in different public services, and they take a very long time. And one of the worst factors is prolonging uncertainty. So I prefer the One Suffolk option, because although it will provoke some uncertainty, it will be far less than the 3 unitary option.